like you to not only listen, but I'd like you to participate. And what I know is I'm going to say this to you, but it's not directed at you necessarily. There are a lot of people, no doubt you know this, who just don't feel that they're able to speak in public. And I want to tell you that that was me at one time. And I have found that, look, people would just say to me, look, just you're going to feel nervous. You're going to feel very self conscious. And you're going to suddenly feel that you're unable to even utter a word. Right. But they didn't say that exactly to me, because if you tell somebody that, then it almost becomes like a fulfilling prophecy, self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, people didn't exactly say that to me. They said, you're going to find it more difficult. You're going to find your heart races a bit. But they said, don't pay any heed to that. That's normal. That happens to everybody. And you probably heard like the people would say, oh, just imagine your audience is naked and whatever. Look, whatever works. I could never do that, right? But the more you do it, the more you put yourself into a situation where you feel anxious or nervous and you manage to do it against what everything else in your body is telling you. Like your body is sort of screaming, or your mind is screaming internally, no, don't do it, don't do it. You feel that you're putting yourself into danger or doing something you don't want to do. The more you do that, the more you feel that, and yet go against what your sort of instincts are telling you. If it's a good thing that you want to do and you do it, then what you've done is you've achieved at least some small victory over all the paranoid and insecure aspects of your character that are pulling you back. And I would even say they're not part of your character. They're part of the sort of preconditioning that they put into us when we were young. And so in pushing against these things that are holding us back from doing what not necessarily we feel that we want to do, but that we ought to do, but feel that we can't, the more you're going to feel good about yourself. I'm not still yet a good public speaker. And I remind people of that in case you think that I am, because some people have said that I am. I'm not telling you that so you should think that I am. But when I heard that, I thought, oh my God, if they think I'm good, right, the danger is then they think, oh, well, you obviously did, like, you studied how to do it. I didn't, right? You know that phrase about, you know, you fake it till you make it. That's the bad way of doing things, where you're doing it like because you're just basically creating an artificial layer around you. You're creating a persona. No. What you're trying to do, I would advise, is think of it this way. You're trying to be not just the best person that you can be, but you are trying to become who you know you can be. And, you know, in all situations in life, the more that you conquer your fears, the better you're going to feel about yourself. And then the better you're going to be able to help others from how you personally, in your struggle against all these, I'll call them demons holding you back, has given your life meaning and purpose, and less reason to feel sorry for yourself. I'll give you this little example that I have given to some people in the past, and it seems to have resonated with them. It's both works as a metaphor and something that I literally did in my life, and I've seen other people do. I'm just taking a drink of water here. So when I was younger, as in, like, you know, pre-teenager, I think a lot of people relate to this. You go somewhere where there's some water, a swimming pool, or a piece of water somewhere where there's a high dive board, and you know, it actually doesn't look too bad. You see a lot of other holiday makers running up the ladder, and then not only jumping off the diving board, but sometimes running across the board, and then jumping and you know, having a lot of fun out of it. And you think that looks like a lot of fun, and then you climb up the ladder, and then you go, oh, when you kind of see then everyone down below you, and all of a sudden, I was going to say 20 meters, but even 20 feet seems very high up in the air, and you think, oh, I can't do this. And if you ever allow yourself to say, I can't do this, what you must say to yourself is, there's no can't. Other people have done it, therefore it's possible. So the only thing that's holding me back from doing that is me. Now, obviously, don't just run and jump without assessing. I mean, if you're diving into any water, the rule is, by the way, you should make sure that the water is deep enough so that you can dive in from whatever height you're diving into. You're not going to hit any hard surface or rock. And furthermore, if you're diving in, make sure that you dive in as cleanly, as smoothly as possible. If you're just jumping off with your feet, you keep your arms by your side. You try and create as small as possible surface area before you hit the water, because you think water is soft, but it's not if you hit it sideways. And you can not only give yourself a big rash, but you can injure yourself. Those are the only dangers. There's nothing else going to get you as long as you're not stupid about it. But for the purposes of the metaphor, if you ever climb back down that ladder, what you're doing is training yourself to get used to what failure tastes like. And you learn to grow accustomed to that taste. And the more that you climb down from whatever you think is an obstacle that you can't climb over, the more you're teaching yourself that failure is your only option. And it's a terrible feeling to slink back down that ladder and say, no, I can't do it. Other people can do it, but I can't. Well, you can. As long as you can think, and as long as you can, I mean, obviously, if you're stuck as a paraplegic, there's some things you can't do, but as long as you can move yourself around, there's very little you can't achieve. And the only thing usually from holding you back is you. And that's why their programming has worked so effectively. Before we ever even challenge them verbally, we're already cowering in our own minds. So what I encourage people to do is, okay, fine. You can't jump off the high diving board, jump off the lower one first. Get used to those small successes. And then when you get out on the diving board on the higher one, sit down in the end. Ease yourself off gently. Nothing bad's going to happen to you. And you're going to find it's those little successes are not only giving you a sense of satisfaction, you're now starting to enjoy life. You're starting to embrace life, what you can do rather than what you can't do. And you're teaching yourself that in the past, when you thought something was insurmountable, you were wrong. And it's good to recognize when you were wrong. It's actually, there's no shame in ever saying there was lots of things I was wrong about. I was wrong about all these things that I thought I couldn't do. And then I realized not only can I do them, but they seemed hard at first, but now it seems like second nature to me. And sometimes you see in people who have everything, they look the same. I mean, take twins for the metaphorical example. They look the same. You think they speak the same. They have the same voice. They have much the same character. They're even wearing the same clothes. But in one of those twins' minds, he may be a very shy individual. The other one might be very outgoing. And it could be just because of a series of negative choices that one of the twins made versus a series of positive choices. And in what I mean by positive choices, the choice to say, I'm frightened, but you have a voice in your mind that says, the fear is irrational. It's not a healthy fear. It's not a self-preservation fear. It's a fear of me saying to myself, I don't want to try in case I fail. And I don't want to look silly, or I don't want anybody to laugh at me. Well, to hell with that. We don't have time to worry about whether anybody thinks we're silly, or didn't say something the right way, or didn't do something in the right aesthetic. We do what we can, and we do it not for ourselves, but for the greater good. So again, I've accidentally climbed into a pulpit. I will try and wrap this up here.